I heard the clink of his champagne glass before I saw his face. That smug, polished grin he wore like a designer suit. We were standing on a stage decorated with borrowed pride. My graduation day. I'd just been handed 2 degrees and a scholarship letter for postgrad. The room was full. Faculty, family, old friends, strangers pretending to care. My name had echoed minutes ago. Applause followed. Now silence gripped the air like it knew what was coming. My father, David Langston, tapped the mic, cleared his throat. He never did know how to shut up. I just want to say, I'm proud. But today also feels like the right time to share something personal. A pause. A practiced sigh. I won't be supporting Olivia financially any longer. And, well, she's not my biological daughter anyway. Gasps. Like a script, perfectly delivered. He looked at me then, eyes challenging me to cry, to collapse, to fall apart and let him win, again. Instead, I smiled, stepped forward, took the mic like it had always been mine. Since we're sharing DNA secrets, I reached into my robe pocket, pulled out a thick white envelope, unsealed, contents already prepped. That's when her face turned white. Emily Langston, the wife, my stepmother, his silent accomplice, the one who always looked at me like I was a smudge on their family portrait. She wasn't breathing. I started talking. I used to think he loved me. I used to think blood didn't matter when someone tucked you in, whispered, "You can be anything," while brushing hair behind your ear. But fairy tales rot faster in rich houses. I wasn't his. I knew that early. Whispers at Christmas, side glances at school functions. But he claimed me, and I clung to that like a lifeline. Until I wasn't useful anymore. The change started after Mom died. Suddenly, my place in the house shrank. Doors shut behind me. Conversations quieted when I walked in. My college fund evaporated without explanation. He was always busy, and Emily always smiling, always smoothing things over. Then I found the emails. It started with a printer error, one of those rare gifts from the universe. An email had printed by mistake. I was home on break, trying to fix the machine. It spat out 3 pages before jamming. Subject, "We keep your secret, you keep our accounts clean." From Emily Langston to David Langston. "We buried her medical records, David. She'll never find the adoption file unless someone talks. Once she's out, she's out." That was the moment something in me unhooked. Grief shifted, anger melted into purpose. They had erased my mother's wishes, hidden my adoption, lied for years. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I started digging. It took months. I worked in silence. Between classes and exams, I chased paper trails, paid off a nurse from my birth hospital, and found my biological father, a man who never knew I existed. He was a quiet mechanic from Arizona. Humble, shocked, DNA confirmed it. But that wasn't the card I wanted to play. Not yet. I kept going. Found court records sealed under Emily's maiden name. A previous marriage. A son. A sealed case of domestic abuse and abandonment. She had a child she never told David about. A son she left. Paid to disappear. The boy resurfaced 2 years ago. In prison for armed robbery. I made a donation to the Victims Fund, contacted the parole board, and waited. Quietly, legally. Then I made sure David found out. A man who built his fortune on legacy, on bloodlines and pristine images. A man who used my graduation to humiliate me publicly. So I used his wife's secret to burn his empire from the inside. Back on the stage, I held the mic and turned to Emily. "Emily, did you ever tell David about your firstborn? Or the hush money? Or how you forged medical records to hide my adoption from the court after my mom died?" The envelope hit the podium with a soft thud. Inside, DNA results, court documents, notarized letters, and The name of the reporter I handed this story to last night. I paused. David was frozen, a statue made of ego and panic. Congratulations to me, I guess. I walked off stage. The room didn't clap. It couldn't. It was too stunned. But I didn't need applause. By evening, the firm David chaired announced a temporary leave of absence. By morning, Emily's face was on 3 tabloids and 1 legal brief. By the end of the week, my trust fund, left by my biological grandfather, was fully reinstated through legal channels. He tried to cut me off, but he had nothing left to cut. People ask me if it was worth it, if I feel better. No, I feel clear. There's a difference. I don't need revenge to sleep at night, but justice? That tucks me in just fine.